we made this report. Now, this report could be easily refreshed just by clicking on refresh all, because all of these tables are made with Power Query. Now, requirement is that this sheet has to be protected, so we will protect it. But now we cannot refresh our tables just by clicking on refresh all, because it is not possible to update tables on protected sheet. Solution is obvious. We have to lift our protection, then to do refreshing, and then to protect our tables again. And for this, we can use VBA to automate things. So first we're going to leave protection, we will refresh all, and then we will place protection again. And at the end, we will show this message box. Now, if I start that procedure, I'm going to get my message box almost immediately. So before our query is executed, this also means that protection on this sheet is already placed. So when I click on OK, now our queries are refreshed, but they haven't changed anything in this sheet. They haven't tried to change anything in this sheet. So when I click on OK, that will fail, because this sheet is already protected. And the reason is that because VBA and Power Query are not synchronized. So we have to make all of these queries synchronous, and for that we are going to uncheck this option, enable background refresh, for all of these queries. And then we will start our VBA procedure again. Now this time this will work, but as we see, only one query is refreshing, then the second one, and when it finishes, the third one will refresh itself. So there is a sequence. This means that the refreshing process will last longer, and at the end we are going to get our message box. So we will try something else, because we cannot wait so much for data to refresh. I'm going to remove this protection, and I'm also going to turn on this option again, enable background refresh. What we can try is to use data validation. We can create some condition that is never fulfilled. For example, that user has to enter these values, and this will prevent users from changing these values. So if the user types something like this will not be accepted, but the user can still delete the data. So this is also not a solution. So I'm going to remove, this data validation rule. So what are we going to do? We're going to make another sheet. Now that other sheet will just be a reflection of this sheet. It will mirror all the values by using formulas. And this is the sheet we are going to protect. So I'm going to place protection on this sheet. In this sheet, I'm just going to change values, for example, to 10 to make a point. And this sheet could be hidden from the user. And now we can see that our sheet is only mirroring that other sheet. So when I click now on refreshing data, that sheet will be refreshed normally, because it is not protected. But this one is protected, but it will still be able to change its values, because the formula in this cell is never changed. So there is no real change, and protection is not triggered, but the value that is result of a formula is only changed. So this is how we can solve our problem, and this is still a protected sheet. Now we want to achieve one more thing. We want to get that message at the end of refreshing. And we are not going to use VBA, because as we saw, that would prolong refreshing of our data. And the only way for Power Query to show some message is to use error statement. So I made this query here. Now this query is dependent on all of these queries. We can see that this query here is dependent on all of the four other queries, and this is important because this query will be always executed the last. Now the code in this query is obviously referencing all of the other queries, and this query will actually use an error statement and error record to show this text to end user, something like this. And we can see now how to use this query. Now, this query to work, first we have to load it in some sheet. And because this query will always create an error message that will look like this, it will never be really loaded in this sheet. So we will not get any table or something. We are just going to have this caption external data 1. Now we can go to our protected sheet. So this is something that user will see. And then we can go to refresh all. Everything is working fine. So we have our queries refreshed. And at the end, we get our message. And this is how we fulfilled all our requirements.